Hello there and welcome to this week's Media News with me, Gareth O'Connor. To kick things off, it is the end. I'm afraid it's the end of Google Reader. Not sure if any of you use Google Reader, but it's quite a good, or it was, a very nice reader program that allowed you to subscribe to news feeds and RSS feeds of your favorite sites, and it all come to one place. But sadly, Google are killing it off, which is kind of a shame. Particularly for some people, it's a crying shame. But interestingly enough, Google Reader actually generates more traffic than Google Plus. But there you go. Did someone say dual screening? I believe someone did. And a lot of people, of course, are talking about dual screening these days. But this is some New Zealand research that's shown now that nearly 60% of Kiwis are now moderate to high dual screeners, which basically means they're using multiple screens at the same time. For most people, it's watching television whilst using a laptop. But of course, with the rise of smartphones and tablets, more and more people are using connected devices whilst watching TV. But when you think about this, you could say 60 to 70% of all Kiwis are doing this. It does start to make importance to have, obviously, a good web presence. But when you look at more and more people using smartphones and tablets, you really need to have a good mobile experience also. Whether that's a site that renders to mobile or where it's a mobile specific site, you really need to start thinking about things in this way. Again, a broad range of people, broad range of things people are doing online: social, browsing websites, searching online, researching online. But a lot of people, you can say now, are researching products that they see whilst watching television. So if they are doing this on a mobile experience and the mobile experience is shoddy, that's a person you've lost. So it goes to show that people, even looking at international research, around 20 to 30% of people are using their connected device to search for things they see in television programs or ads. It's worthwhile noting. And the second screen is set to explode for many reasons, but really it is the rise of tablets. 85% of tablet owners say they watch TV with their tablets, which is massive, massive. When you think over 500,000 Kiwis have access to a tablet, that is a huge number of people who are looking at products and services whilst watching television. I can't stress the importance enough of getting ready for mobile and having mobile sites. Here is also why the second screen will succeed. Of course, usage is growing rapidly. Like I said, 85% of smartphone users are involved in the second screen activity. So again, even for the likes of TV and Z, there's a lot of opportunity to open up connections and platforms that speak to one another. TV give you a richer experience within a tablet and mobile environment. And it's the sort of thing now you can see in America, people are doing this really, really well. Mass acceptance isn't really necessary. When you think of the US, for instance, again, you could think of it as here, but in the US, $18.4 billion was spent in the last quarter, the third quarter of last year, so $74 billion annually. If mobile just carved out a tiny little bit of that, it would make huge amounts of money for people. So it doesn't need to be adopted by all for it to be accepted. But there are a lot of people who are starting to do this properly. Second screen isn't a new activity. No, it's not. But it does now with mobile. It's a lot easier for people to participate in second screen. One of the good ideas actually is if you look at American Idol, they've got some really cool stuff that they're doing in the States now with the second screen. And of course, second screen apps are basically sites are bridges from the TV world into the online world. But like I say, with so many people now using connected devices whilst watching television, you've really got to make that journey as easy as possible for people. And you've got to make it a really good experience, ultimately. And people now are also buying everything through apps. This is research that's come from the UK and the US. But when you look, and I know you could say those environments, 6 to 9 months ahead of us. But people are now buying pretty much everything through mobile devices. So if you think, my product's not bought online, nonsense. People would. And you're wasting an awful lot of opportunity. New global research also shows that tablet has overtaken smartphone traffic for the very first time, which is kind of amazing. New research from Adobe have found that 8% of monthly views are attributed to iPads or tablets. Mobiles at 7%, which is quite something. Granted, you can see that most things are still taking place on desktop and laptop, but 16% of overall traffic in the world is coming through mobile devices. If you're, I mean, it's the thing. If you want to not play in the mobile space, you could be losing 16 to 20% of your opportunity. Crazy. Also, if you have some good video content, start thinking about mobile. iPhones are still leading the charge in terms of destinations and engagement. People who have iPhones engage more with advertising and content than they do Android brothers and sisters. But of course, it's starting to rise, and with the likes of S4, it's creating environments for more people to serve up rich experiences. And a while ago, I did speak to you about Samsung and how they were doing a lot in the content space, and they are making a lot of really good content. And the content really has furthered their cause. And of course, people have been waxing lyrical about the huge successes they've had. And people have also been laughing about the likes of HTC and Nokia and Microsoft for their failures. But, and I think this is quite telling of people, content's all well and good, but you have to spend money supporting it. When you look, people say in America, for instance, that mobile space is a two-horse race, Samsung and Apple. Well, that's fair. They are both making good ads, they're making really good content, but they're spending vast amounts of money. It's all well and good having good content, but you have to support that content with marketing and advertising. Just a thought. If HTC and BlackBerry and Nokia spent more, would it be more successful? Quite possibly. Speaking of Samsung, the S4 launched. That's what it looks like. It'll be here in June. We've got a couple of good things. I guess a lot of the cool products they have on there are all around smart scroll, smart pause, where you can actually use your hand gesture, so you don't actually even have to touch telephone. It also watches your eye gestures, so when you move away from the screen, it stops what it's doing. It stops scrolling or stops playing. And also it's got a really good translator function. I don't know if it's quite as good as Google's, but still, it's there. But again, it's a really good telephone. A lot of people said it's not going to be an iPhone killer, because Apple does have a lot of brand equity, and people, Apple lovers just love Apple products because of the way they work, their design, functionality. But Apple iPhone 6 definitely needs to pull out some stops, that's for sure. A couple of mobile stats for you. The average smartphone user looks at their phone 150 times a day, which is quite amazing. And apps are where most people spend the vast majority of their time whilst connected through their mobile device. But interestingly, 63% of apps visited daily today are different from 12 months ago. Goes to show you really got to keep your head of the curve and give people something of value for them to keep coming back for more. Mobile advertising will take off in NZ this year, I reckon. I'm not the only one that reckons this, but the growing popularity of smartphones with oversized screens means advertisers have more real estate in which to deliver their pitches while minimizing the annoyance factor. Yes, indeed. The continued build-out of 4G networks and increasing use of Wi-Fi are providing faster connections, enabling advertisers to create immersive, rich media experiences. Yes, indeed. It's not all about shitty little banners. You can actually create really, really rich experiences on mobile. And why not? Higher socio groups, people with more disposable income, all have smartphones that you can serve rich experiences to. And they would like to buy directly from that device. It's worth the investment. And also the other thing, if you want to make sure things are working, mobile engagement rates are significantly higher in desktop at the moment, and there's lots of new analytical tools that will allow you to show that. All good. South by Southwest was on last week, and here's some of the key things folks were talking about. Some of these you'll be like, what? That's never gone away. But hey, these are what people were talking about. Audacious ideas. Lots of people came and spoke about audacious ideas. Elon Musk, co-founder of PayPal, was one of them. He's got a couple of things, SolarCity and SpaceX. Go check them out if you want to. But he said audacious ideas are back. The next industrial revolution, it's all going to be about 3D printing. And you can get some pretty cheap 3D printers now. Emerging markets. If you're a company that's thinking of getting into emerging markets, well, Africa is a bloody good one when it comes to mobile. And interestingly enough, 80% of the world's mobile money transactions take place in Africa, which is amazing, I think. A couple of other things. Hardware. The device isn't always the most important thing now, but what runs that device seems to be more important. Ouya is a good example. I've spoken about this quite a while ago now, but Ouya is a gaming console where anyone can make games. And it's just served direct to games, so it's a completely open platform, which is good. And the other thing that people were banging on about was location. Again, but people say, the mobile is a more immediate thing, so it does speak to your local locations a hell of a sight more. Of course, you can have that with local information, local offers, local deals, local destinations. But location is going to become a significant part now of all advertising and products and anything that people are pushing that you want to start getting local. Streaming service, yes, quick flicks. I guess this part of the world's answer to Netflix. They're renegotiating a lot of their major deals. The reason for this is they want to reduce the time delay in when things are shown in the US and UK to shown here. And also, really, when you think QuickFlix has 120,000 customers at the moment, but they're still working at a loss. They really need to build their customer base, but of course, it all comes down to having good content. So they're doing all they can now to get good content, and also to make more people aware of the streaming. In America, in the UK, for instance, nearly everyone streams. Grannies stream. Everyone knows about it. Whereas here, not so many people do it. But with the advancements that TVNZ are making, more and more people are going to do it. But QuickFlix, you just need to get more better content. It's safe to say, though, TV around the world is changing. The rise of internet distributors is on the rise. Yes, indeed. Netflix now in America accounts for 38% of all web traffic, which is phenomenal. But of course, you've got the likes of Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, possibly, and even Google are now going to try and get into distributing traditional TV in non-traditional ways. It is happening. And the rise of alternative content producers, really, this is YouTube kind of kicked this off with their channel strategy and investment in hundreds of content providers. But people are digesting more and more content now, more content than they ever had before, but are just getting it from different sources. Mini extends its dog campaign. You may remember the smart dog campaign. Well, now the RSPCA, if you go SPCA, sorry, if you go and get a dog, they will let you take it away in a Mini. Look at that! Nice little idea to extend a campaign, but that turns into a bed for the first 8 weeks. A Mini in your kitchen for the first 8 weeks. Pretty good idea. I do love a good outdoor ad. I'm going to show you a few of these here. But creativity in the outdoor space really is a powerful tool for any brand. Batman there, nice one from Mammoth mountain ski area. Crystal Spring Water, so good. Aliens want it, nice. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is now going on where you can do your shopping directly from a billboard. Good idea also, it's happening a lot. But creativity in outdoor space can really leave a huge and powerful statement on the landscape for any brand. A nice one from Mini there. Lorex, not so, but a good thing with all these billboard ads, which you don't really see here, is you get it. You know what all these are for. You don't have to stop and stare at it, you don't have to do anything. Simplicity through good creative to get your message across. Doesn't happen that often in New Zealand, I must be honest with you. This is one I really, really like. This was up the road, 50 meters down the road, you had this. Awesome, like that very much. Google are doing some experiments reimagining advertising. You should probably go and check this out. It's a really good piece of work again, but it's all looking around inspiration, time for change. The idea is still king, but don't be afraid to experiment. Think of things that are connected, I guess. Think of the physical world and the digital world, but you've got to think of objects that are connected to one another. Canvases. We're still using old canvases, but we're trying to use them in new ways. Reimagining the old to create whole new opportunities for brands to engage with consumers. They also spoke about useful marketing. Again, don't just create ads, create tools for people. Nike Plus is a perfect example of this. But again now, it's creating pieces of value for people so they keep having brand connection and keep having brand engagement and keep doing things that interact with your brand. You've got to give people value over and above what you just sell. Audiences of one. Yes, craft experiences for the individual. It'll make that experience a whole lot richer for them, and they'll go ahead and talk about it, sparking a greater word of mouth. It's creating experiences for the few, which can then be enjoyed by the many. Collaborative storytelling, yes, a lot has been made about crowdsourcing over the last few years, but hey, it's always good to bring your consumers along for the ride. And then data. Well, everyone makes a lot of use about data, but really we are in a set of a data explosion. But there is an awful lot of opportunity for brands to exploit data for their own use. Giving their consumers a far better experience, understanding the consumers a far better, and understanding the target audience a hell of a lot better. We can help with all this, by the way, but worth checking out, so do go and look at that. I'm going through it again. Here's a good use of cinema.
You'll recognize this. It's great. Here's one of my ears. Just like an angel.
Leute im Kino, denen ist kalt?
Ja, wie tritt's gerade die Heizung ist aus?
Im Kino selber jetzt. Wie weit wollt ihr die runterdrehen?
8 Grad.
8, 9 Grad, ehrlich gesagt, ist noch angenehm.
8 Grad ist nix.
Kalt wird's ab 0 Grad, also für mich ehrlich gesagt so.
Kalt. Also ist scheiße. I don't belong here. I don't belong here. What the fuck am I doing here? I don't belong here. Whatever makes you happy. Whatever you want.
Komm, lass die Leute ins Kino in Ruhe.
I wish I was special.
Nice. Good idea, and it's kind of spreading across Germany. But again, now with the cinemas being in New Zealand, the vast majority of them now are digital. You're able to create these sort of live experiences a hell of a sight easier. But again, a good way of creating experience. Here's another very nice piece, and this is the last thing for me this week. But a good thing, friends are great. Enjoy.
Imagine, it's the middle of the night, you're sleeping, your best friend calls for help, but you go out and save his ass. Tonight, we put some friends to the test.
Hey, ça va Pat?
Ethisch.
Ik ben wel blij dat je opneemt, ik zit wel in de shit eigenlijk jong.
Zijn aan het slapen?
Met mijn bed.
Want ik heb hier een dik probleem eigenlijk.
I went somewhere and I played some cards in a poker room and I've lost some money.
En fait, il faudrait que tu ramènes 300 €.
Oh, sorry.
Ja, sorry, ja, ik weet dat het laat is, maar
Ik kan je niet morgen betalen.
you need to bring me the money because they don't let me get out.
Jij bent zo 2 meter en jij kunt niet door.
Nee, ze zijn hier met 3.
Voilà, Geoffrey, je ne sais vraiment pas t'aider.
Quoi, vraiment pas?
Zijn jij niet op je kop gevallen? Ja, als dat echt moeizaam doet, hè, ja.
Tot ze biedt, hè.
Ja.
Full game. Third floor.
Ik kom nu naar beneden en je komt dat geld halen of ik ben voor. Als je iets vervalt, man, ik spreek van mijn leven niet meer tegen je.
Did you bring my money? Put it on the table.
And I'll see you next time. Cheers.